happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart, down in my heart. All right, good singing. We're going to get started today now. Thank you, Mrs. V. We're going to start with Read and Grow. It's our last Student of the Month Read and Grow Chapel for the year. Can you believe it? So cool. All right, monthly Read and Grow winners for April. Here they are. K5, Mrs. Hughes Weston Stansel. K5, Mrs. Tant, Landon Woolard. K5, Mrs. Mills, Grant Issett. K5, Mrs. Owens is James Cunningham. First grade, Mrs. Eford, Chase Crowder. First grade, Mrs. Taylor was Colton 2. First grade, Mrs. Gillen, Paisley Zadunik. Second grade, Mrs. Zervis was Isabella Davis. Second grade, Mrs. Klein, Alistair Sherrod. Second grade, Mrs. Griffey, Violet Thompson. I've seen some of these names a couple times this year. They must like to read. Third grade, Mrs. Addo, Zoe Raper. Third grade, Mrs. Eford, Garrison Fisher. Fourth grade, Mrs. McClanahan was Kinsley Crowder. And fourth grade, Mr. Hess was Micah Best. Very good job, readers. And we'll have fifth grade for the next chapel. Well done, kindergarten through fourth grade, Read and Grow. Mr. T's going to get you on video one more time. Give him a nice wave. All right, give him one more round of applause. Good job. Y'all can have a seat. All right, Student of the Month Elementary. I scared Mr. Hess thinking that there weren't any certificates. We got it covered. Student of the Month was Spiritual Interest and Self-Control was this month. What a great Student of the Month character quality. So for these, good job all of you. K5, Mrs. Hughes was Emily Arroyo. K5, Mrs. Mills, Abby Williams. Mrs. Owens, K5, was Mrs. Tant, K5, was Mia King. I really like it when you see classmates really excited for their classmates. That's super cool. First grade, Mrs. Eford, Chase Crowder. Chase is going to have more candy than he knows what to do with, right? Twice. First grade, Mrs. Gillen Walker Langley. Good job. First grade, Mrs. Taylor Blakely Waters. Second grade, Mrs. Klein was Kate Simpson. Second grade, Mrs. Griffey Reed Petty. Second grade in Mrs. Zervis' class, she said Harper Renfro. Third grade for Mrs. Addo's class was Nora Jernigan. Third grade, Mrs. Eford's class was Owen Cottle. Fourth grade, Mr. Hess said Ellie Krieger. And our last one for today, Mrs. McClanahan's class was Harper Williams. Great job, everybody. Well done. And good enthusiasm from the crowd. Thank you, Mr. Hess, for helping. All right, everybody, wave to your parents one more time. Very good. All right, give them one more round of applause. Go ahead. Y'all can have a seat. You can sit down. Go ahead. Go ahead. Good job. All right. So glad to have y'all here.